Imagine when you're lost in a dry desert, you feel like you are dying without water and food, then suddenly a large and beautiful rice field appeared. There should be no oasis in the desolation of the desert that in your mind, you think rice should be planted in a place with abundant water. However, this is exactly the 8,200 acres of rice that scientists successfully planted in the desert. To realize this project, the difficulties they encounter in the desert may be beyond your imagination. In 2008, when China announced plans to plant 8,200 acres of rice in the desert, many people think this is a ridiculous plan. An impression rice is a crop that has almost nothing to do with deserts. Rice is different from other plants. For thousands of years, rice has been grown in water. It is suitable for growing in an environment of 30 to 32 degrees Celsius and requires fertile soil, but the desert environment is exactly the opposite. Desert has always been regarded as a negative resource, that it is dry and lacks water, with the highest temperature reaching 76 degrees Celsius. Wind and sand are the main natural disasters that, in addition, rice seedlings also have certain requirements for soil acidity and saltiness during the germination period. Therefore, it would be a miracle if rice could be grown in the desert for a time. Countries such as Dubai, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, which are also troubled by deserts, paid close attention to this matter. So how did scientists achieve growing rice in the desert? China is one of the countries with a lot of deserts, including the Gobi. Its area reaches 1.28 million square kilometers, accounting for 13% of the country's total land area. Among them, the Taklamakan Desert reaches 330,000 square kilometers, which is comparable to the entire country of Italy. In the past 70 years, China's desertification prevention and control work has made steady progress in continuous exploration, from the earliest grid desertification control to the modern advanced photovoltaic desertification control. With years of hard work, millions of people have completed the desertification control task of 20.33 million hectares. A historic transformation has been achieved, from sands advancing and people retreating to greens advancing and sand receding. In China, many deserts have now transformed from barren lands into sealed oases. These changes also laid the foundation for China's later development of agriculture in the desert. In 2000, Yuan Longping, a famous Chinese agricultural expert, spent 10 years developing a type of rice suitable for growing in deserts: sea rice. Different from other rice, this is a kind of rice that is salt-alkali tolerant. It has stronger survival and competitiveness than other ordinary rice and has the ability to resist waterlogging, salt-alkali, lodging, diseases, and insect pests, etc., and the yield is very high. There is no doubt about Yuan Longping's research results. He is an internationally renowned agricultural scientist and the founder and leader of China's rice industry since the 1980s. The scientist has helped more than 40 countries develop agriculture and helped increase rice production in Africa by 30%, so that more local people no longer have to worry about food and starvation. What's interesting is that China has a population of 1.4 billion and consumes 700,000 tons of grain every day. It needs at least 600 to 700 million tons of grain a year. What an astonishing number! Therefore, it is Yuan Longping's lifelong goal to make the 1.4 billion people self-sufficient in food. However, there are many large and small deserts in China. Which desert is the most suitable for growing rice? The problems faced by growing rice in the desert are unimaginable. In order to solve the problem of water resources, Yuan Longping led a team of hundreds of people to analyze and inspect the terrain in the desert, and finally decided to use the Ulanbator Desert in Inner Mongolia as the test base. The Ulanbator Desert is one of the 8 largest deserts in China. This desert has a mid-temperate arid climate with little rain, a large temperature difference between day and night, and strong monsoons. Fortunately, it is rich in light and heat resources, which has potential advantages for the development of agriculture. In the first stage, they decided to start planting from 80 acres and accumulated experience. After more than a dozen processes, such as leveling the land, digging ditches, backfilling, fertilizing soil, acidification, suspension tillage, watering, etc., the desert became made soil suitable for planting. The following year, the scale of the second stage of rice continued to expand to 300 acres. However, with the continuous improvement of varieties, the yield per mu increased year by year, and the average yield per mu could reach more than 500 kilograms. In the third stage, they planted 1,500 acres in the desert. After 5 months, each acre of land could produce 850 kilograms of rice, and a total of nearly 260,000 kilograms of rice was produced. This can be said to be a remarkable number, setting a precedent for growing rice in the desert. With rich experience in 2016, China plans to invest $6.3 million in the project and expand the planting scope to 8,200 acres. This time, the rice produced was of higher quality, 10 tested by the Beijing Nutrient Source Research Institute. The rice produced in the Upland desert is rich in potassium, calcium, iron, zinc, selenium, and other trace elements. Many people are curious that rice cannot survive without water, and it is difficult to store water resources in desert areas. So where does the water needed to grow rice come from? The Upland Desert is located to the east near the Yellow River. The Yellow River is China's mother river, and there is a steady stream of river water here. By building multiple water conservancy projects and channels, China has introduced water from the Yellow River into the desert, transforming the desert into farmland with farming conditions. In addition, scientists have also studied a planting technology, which is the ecological water-retaining sand planting technology. It has good anti-seepage properties and water-saving and fertilizer-preserving effects. Rice using this technology grows vigorously and has strong plants. This technology can also save 70% of water. Due to its good air permeability, rice fields will not produce an anaerobic environment and have no harmful gases, which can reduce pests and diseases and avoid the use of pesticides, thereby ensuring pollution-free planting. On the other hand, they used a variety of methods to study the soil that is most suitable for deserts so that the sand is no longer a pile of loose sand but fertile farmland. In this way, 8,200 acres of rice cultivation were achieved. Today, there are still many countries around the world that have been suffering from deserts, and Dubai is one of them. Dubai is a city built on a desert. It is located in the desert and has little rainfall throughout the year, with an average annual rainfall of less than 100 millimeters. Therefore, agricultural development is almost impossible in Dubai. 80% of the country's food needs to be imported. In 2016, when Dubai learned that China had successfully developed agriculture in the desert, they sent an invitation to China, hoping that China could help them improve the desert environment and develop limited agriculture. In 2017, Yuan Longfeng led a team of nearly 100 people to Dubai and conducted experimental planting in Dubai's tropical desert. In the first phase of the trial, the maximum yield per mu exceeded 500 kilograms. This is the first time Dubai has successfully experimented with growing rice in a tropical desert. In order to find more rice suitable for the Dubai desert, scientists selected more than 80 different kinds of rice for small-scale planting and cultivation. After 5 months of growth, the yield of these rice per mu reached 900 kilograms. Dubai science was very shocked and very satisfied with the results. In fact, growing rice in Dubai is much more difficult than in China. The first thing to overcome is the extreme local climate. The desert in Dubai is close to the equator where there are extremely high temperatures. The temperature is 50 degrees Celsius at the hottest time and only 20 degrees Celsius at night. At the same time, the climate here is dry, and the humidity is low, which is not conducive to self-pollination of rice. On the other hand, the soil required for rice is also a thorny issue. The Dubai desert is different from deserts in other countries. This is a desert in the typical sense with a granular structure. Sand cannot hold any water at all. If you want to transform the soil to obtain a larger harvest, it will require a lot of investment, and fresh water resources are also a huge problem in Dubai. On the other hand, Dubai's agricultural development is not developed, so their agricultural tools are also incomplete. To solve this problem, the Chinese team brought talents and professional agricultural machinery to provide local training, deployment, and transportation to solve water and soil problems. As of 2020, the green area of Dubai's desert has expanded from the initial 10 square kilometers to 400 square kilometers. Seawater rice technology not only feeds nearly 1 million local people, but also promotes the development of local agriculture. Now, in addition to Dubai, Saudi Arabia has also decided to invite China for cooperation in order to improve the environment there. There are plans to plant 10 billion trees in Saudi deserts and are using desalination and irrigation technology to convert desert areas into agricultural land. There is also Egypt. Egypt, with 95% of its land being desert, is also working hard to achieve desert greening. If Egypt could realize the introduction of Nile water into the desert, it would achieve twice the result with half the effort. Now, China is not only greening the desert, but also developing more industries in the desert. In recent years, they have used photovoltaic desert control technology to successfully develop 5 major industries in the desert. The first industry uses the light from photovoltaic panels to grow Chinese herbal medicine underground. Chinese herbal medicine is a native medicinal material that has a great demand in traditional Chinese medicine. The second photovoltaic rice desert rice requires a lot of investment. Now it is expanding. In the future, it can turn more deserts into good soil, give the earth more oases. The use of photovoltaic technology to grow rice is also a successfully tested project in China in recent years. Third, through the successful photovoltaic desertification control, tens of thousands of acres of sand dunes have been turned into grassland, and nearby residents can develop sheep herding in the desert and increased economic returns. The fourth is to raise fish in the desert that in the past, raising fish in the desert was unthinkable. But 10 years ago, China successfully implemented a project to raise fish in the desert. Its fish farming model is currently the most advanced in the world, that it's called a high-efficiency, low-carbon, flowing water breeding pond. It has automatic oxygenation, automatic feeding, and automatic defecation. It can produce up to 300,000 genes of fresh fish per year, realize one water for 2 uses, one field for multiple harvests, let residents living in arid areas also have access to fresh fish. The fifth one is the planting industry. Through these years of photovoltaic sand control, the desert soil has turned into fertile farmland, and nearby residents have planted a large number of fruit trees and vegetables in the desert. Nowadays, in many deserts in China, we don't see the sky full of yellow sand as we imagined. Along the way, what comes into view are the vast array of photovoltaic panels and the lush greenery dotting them. On both sides of the road, there are lush windbreak and sand-fixing forests composed of willows, elms, and shrubs. There are patches of rice growing vigorously in the desert, and the desert has turned into fertile farmland. The local farmers have benefited the most. As the global climate continues to warm, greening the earth has become a common global goal. Combating desertification is undoubtedly a battle with nature, but I believe that with continued exploration and efforts, humans will eventually overcome the harsh conditions in many desert areas. It will turn wasteland into fertile farmland and make our ecological environment better and better. What do you think about growing rice in the desert? Please tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.